Gamerheads podcast is part of the Little Fellow Media Podcast Network, sponsored by podcast host Budsprout, the easiest podcasting software for hosting, promoting, and tracking your podcast. And welcome to another episode of Gamerheads. My name is Roger, aka Rogue Leader 76, and with me are my co-host Blue,
aka Writer's View,
and my co-host Christian,
aka Fulgan.
And did you question your name there?
No, I had to lead up to Mike finishing it off strong.
Okay. And my co-host Mike,
aka Pezman Mike.
There you go.
Well done, everyone.
I thought you were going
to channel my inner Christian. So.
Oh, yeah. I thought Christian was going to go with the X_game_freak_ whatever show. Freak show? Yeah. So, welcome to the show. And welcome listeners from Plymouth, Minnesota, home of such notables as Blake Wheeler, NHL hockey player, and Marion Barber III, former NFL running back. So, yeah.
Thank you, listeners.
I've never been to Plymouth, but apparently it's one of the largest cities in Minnesota. I think it's like the top 5, I think. I think it's like a suburb of the Twin Cities. But that is not far from me, and I could probably go visit there, so I should.
Just add it to the list.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the rapidly growing list.
I know.
We don't just have a video game backlog list anymore. Now we have places we need to visit backlog.
Yes, exactly. And welcome listeners from all over the world. And welcome to our newest members of the hashtag Gamerheads Nation.
Woo!
Newest member is Miguel, a.k.a. @SergeantFitGeek, who has supported us on our new Patreon page. And for only $1 a month, you could also become a friend of the show and have your name listed in the show notes, like John, aka @SMBFlurry. Supporting the Gamerheads podcast not only helps us record with our fund our recording and our editing services. Yes, it does cost money to run a podcast, but it also helps us cover topics that matter most to you, and your support will help offset some of the costs for our giveaway prizes, the purchase prices of games that we review, and then attending conferences and conventions as well, so that we can bring you the news from those things. So thank you so much for those that did support us, and if you like the show, please consider becoming a supporter as well. And that link will be in the show notes. Welcome, everybody. We do have a lot to cover today. We have some news, some Batman news, because Batman's turning 80, so that's pretty cool. So get some news there. And some news about the video game business. But first, before we get into all that, Mike, you had an icebreaker. Do you want to bring up this icebreaker?
I shall. So the icebreaker for this week is, what is your favorite licensed song as used in a video game? So any song by like a band or something you would hear on the radio, or if you have it on, well, they don't do CDs anymore, but you know what I mean.
No, now it's vinyl. New releases come out on vinyl.
That's right.
I think they're redoing cassettes too. Isn't that like the new thing?
Yes. Now? What was I saw an ad for a Billie Eilish thing that was being released on cassette. And I was like, does anybody who listens to Billie Eilish, have they even heard of cassettes before?
No.
Well, there you go. That answers that.
Okay, like her fans are like 14. That's the joke.
Okay, I was like, I have no idea even who that is. What songs would they sing that I know?
You wouldn't. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe if they're on the radio.
Unless you listen to 14-year-old girl music, but I'm pretty sure you don't.
Well, if it's on the pop radio, I might have heard it.
Oh, well, it might be on the pop radio, but I don't listen to that, so I don't know if it's on there or not.
Oh. I don't either, so.
Well, then why did you say you would recognize it if it was?
Well, okay, I don't. But when we're driving with my wife listens to like the top. She doesn't like listening to like alternative channels like I listen to or old rock. Well, she doesn't mind the oldie station, but not oldies. I guess well, it is on the oldies. I guess classic rock. But she listens to like the chart music more than I do. So if we're driving the car and she has control of the radio, I tend to listen to whatever she listens to. But normally I would listen to either a campus station, which is like alternative music, like college radio, and then I listen to classic rock as well. Typically. Typically. So Mike, what is your favorite licensed song used in the game?
It's a song by Billie Eilish, and
oh no, what song? I might know it. What is the song?
White Wedding.
Oh,
No,
she does not sing. No,
that's Billy
song.
Idol.
Yeah, close.
Yeah. So I gave this one a lot of thought because there were so many that I wanted to pick, and I was going back and forth between two different songs. So I'm actually going to call out both of them. The first one is Cyndi Lauper's "Goonies Are Good Enough" from the Goonies 2 on the NES.
Wait, what?
Oh wow,
that song's used in that? Well, I mean the bit music of it.
Yeah,
is used in the
yeah,
game?
it's
Really?
an 8-bit version of "Goonies Are Good Enough." And
Oh
it's
my
awesome.
goodness!
I actually had it for my ringtone for a while.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I really, really love that song, especially in those those days where there were only about 5 or 6 different songs per game.
Yeah,
And hearing that over and over again, it just kind of got instilled in your DNA. So that was my runner-up, but my main one was back in college. We didn't have a whole lot of money. I worked at a Taco Bell, but that only made me enough to pretty much cover my future wife's expenses. So taking her out to dinner and things like that. But one thing that we could always afford was delivery from Pizza Hut.
Oh.
And we ordered this pizza from Pizza Hut, and it came with a PlayStation Underground demo disc.
Yeah.
And of the many games on that demo disc, we only played one game. And that game was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it was only one level, the factory or the warehouse level. And you could only play for 2 minutes. And so the guys on our floor, we all had a running, scoreboard as who can get the most points in those 2 minutes. But every time there was only one song that played, and that was Superman by Goldfinger.
Dang it. That was one of mine.
Yeah.
Mike.
That was one of yours? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you got this.
So that is another one that we played just for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on end. And that song, I immediately, I'm like, all right, I'm going to Napster, and I'm getting this song. So it's still on my iPod to this day. So that's my big pick is Superman by Goldfinger from Tony Hawk.
Yeah, Christian, there was a thing called Napster at one time.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. Is Napster still a thing? I think it might be, right? But now you have to pay for the service or something, right?
Yeah, the hell with that.
That brought that service down.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, do you know who you have to thank for those demo discs?
Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. That's a good pick, Mike. Good picks. What about you, Blue? Do you have a favorite licensed song used in a game?
This is really tough because when you think about the Guitar Hero games,
Yeah.
you automatically have like 4 zillion choices.
Yeah.
Those had so many great songs on there, classic rock songs that you already knew, but also lots of bands that I'd never heard of before. So I've kind of narrowed it down. Let's see, we got Texas Flood, Godzilla, Through the Fire and Flames, Escuela de Calor, Let's Talk More Rock, Freebird, Frankenstein, Cheat on the Church, Psychobilly Freakout. I could keep going, but the music in these games is really good. That's the takeaway.
Yeah. No, yeah. I was gonna say that was my pick as well, like the rock band versions of that. But yeah, I mean, there are so many good games. But the sad part is that those games kind of fizzled away, didn't they?
They did. I think they were a little ahead of their time.
Yeah.
I think that if they could have launched now, when DLC is so prevalent, I think that they could have continued to live.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was living in the Madison area, one of the restaurants, it was called Quaker Steak and Lube. I don't know if you ever guys been to any.
Okay.
Did you say restaurant?
Yeah, restaurant. Yes, Quaker
Steak.
Steak
and Lube restaurant.
No, not state.
Oh.
Steak.
Oh,
Quaker
okay.
Steak.
I thought you said state.
Why are we not confused about the lube part?
Oh no. But
So I thought you said, okay, go ahead.
no, Christian, have you ever been there before?
No,
You know what I'm talking about.
never.
But you know what I'm talking about, though?
I don't think so.
No, it's on the.
I have no idea
I
what
can't
this man is
believe-
talking about.
I can't believe you don't know a restaurant that has lube in the tile.
It's on the west side of Madison.
Oh, the west side. Oh, in that case.
It's actually in Middleton. Christian, have you ever been to Middleton before?
Yeah, I've never heard of this restaurant though, Roger. I'm sorry. Can't back you up on this.
Continue with your story, Roger.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where this is going.
Every Tuesday night they used to have rock band nights, so they would bring all the like plastic instruments up there, and instead of like karaoke night, you would play rock bands with your friends. It was kind of cool.
That would be a lot better than karaoke.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, it was. It's a place. They have the hottest atomic wings. They're called atomic wings, and you have to sign a waiver before you eat them that you're
Lots
not
of
going to
places have that.
Yeah, but
But not all those places have lube.
that's right.
We're just not going to explain that. We're just going to drop it and keep going.
Well, I don't know why they kept the lube part, but
They kept it, so it
I'm looking
used
it
to
up.
be
well,
not.
no. Well, because the it's a play on the it's a play on Quaker State in lube. It's like a place that you can get your oil changed, and when you go in there, there's like a bunch of cars inside this restaurant, like old time
Okay.
cars. So, like that's like the whole like play on that.
Okay, that's all we needed.
Yeah.
I think, I'm according to Wikipedia,
Yes.
and yes, there is a Wikipedia page.
Yes.
The original one was a purchased gas station, and they just
Okay.
kept the sign up.
Oh.
Interesting.
So then it was like they're like, all right, you know that this will be our gimmick. So
Okay. See, you were just introduced it completely out of context, and we're like, what?
They had good food, and then they had rock band on Tuesdays. That's all I cared about.
Okay.
we should hit them up to be a sponsor with how much they're talking.
We should.
This episode is brought to you by.
Nice.
What were we talking about again?
Favorite games, favorite licensed game used, favorite licensed song used in a game. Christian, what is your favorite licensed song?
I've got 3 cheats and 1 real one. My first cheat is Superman by Goldfinger, which Mike already mentioned in Pro Skater 1, is I had that on N64, but the thing with the N64 version was that it didn't play the full songs.
Oh, no.
It only played like a
Oh.
truncated version. And
Oh,
so
no.
like my eyes opened and it was like a come to Jesus moment when I listened to Goldfinger the first time outside of Pro Skater 1 on the N64 and realized there was like a whole minute of that song I didn't hear until like 6 years later. And it blew my mind. It was crazy.
Yeah,
That's so irritating
that is very.
to only play like little parts of the song.
But you know what's kind of cool about that was that is music that like I grew up with, and now Christian was exposed to that music as well because of the video game. That's cool.
So you grew up with it outside of the video game?
I did. Oh yeah, I loved Goldfinger. I still do. But yeah. Now I told you I'm like totally into alternative music.
Like totally into it.
And junk.
Like totally.
But yeah, Superman kind of kickstarted my love for ska music. Ska music is my favorite genre. So
Really?
that's what I listen to the most of these days.
Less than Jake.
Yes, lots of Less Than Jake, lots of Real Big Fish, lots of Streetlight Manifesto. All three, those are probably my 3 favorite bands, but there's some tracks here or there from other bands that I like listening to a lot too.
Nice.
Second cheat pick, Guitar Hero 2, Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine. That is most definitely, without a doubt, the song I played the most on Guitar Hero 2, and that also blossomed a love inside me for Rage Against the Machine. Bulls on Parade and Guitar Hero 3 is also a great one, but Killing in the Name, I could probably play that song with my eyes closed on expert. I think that's about as far as I got as a preteen, was playing Killing in the Name over and over and over and over and over and over, and it's just so fun. So I like that song. Third cheat pick is Big Iron by Marty Robbins in Fallout New Vegas. I freaking love that song. And Fallout New Vegas was the first time I ever heard it. And listening to that song now just evokes these memories of me just wandering out in the Mojave Wasteland and just, you know, killing some geckos, walking out there in the desert, helping out some people with their dam problem. And that's a great song for me to go back to and just listen to. Like it a lot. But my favorite one is the non-cheat pick, because this one kind of more is like a part of the game itself when it happens. And I didn't realize this until I played through BioShock more recently, a few months ago, and that's Beyond the Sea. BioShock got the Beyond the Sea song. They got the one song they needed, and they play it while you're just in awe looking at the city as the submarine kind of submerges you in it and takes you through it, and you're listening to Beyond the Sea play, and it just sets that Art Deco mood so effectively. It's a very poignant moment and one of my favorite moments in any video game ever.
Yeah,
that's what grabbed my attention when I remember seeing the BioShock trailer for the first time.
Oh yeah,
and they used that song in the trailer too, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. So yeah, that's an awesome pick. It wasn't the one that I thought it was going to be your pick.
What'd you think it was, Mike?
I thought that your pick was going to be Cage the Elephant, Ain't No Rest for the Wicked from the opening sequence of Borderlands.
Oh, that's a good one. Borderlands 3 has some good songs in there, too. I thought you were going to say Sympathy for the Devil in Call of Duty Black Ops, Mike, because I said I liked Call of Duty a lot, too.
Oh, yeah, the second pick.
Second pick?
Sure, why not?
Nice.
But no, but Beyond the Sea, yeah, that's an awesome. That couldn't be any more perfect for that game.
Totally.
Actually, my pick is from Borderlands 2, and it is Shortchange Hero by The Heavy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
That beginning part, you know, it's so good. It just fits so well. It's so cool. I just, you know, it just sets this, for me, it sets this whole tone for the whole game. And, yeah, I love that song. So yeah, other than that, my other cheat one would have been some Beatles song off of the Beatle Rock Band game. All of the Beatles songs in the Beatle Rock Band. I played that Beatle Rock Band more than any other Rock Band game I played. Like, I do love the Beatles, but yeah, I would have to say Shortchange Hero. Yeah, it's a really good game, a really good song. And it sets the tone for Borderlands very, very well. So, listeners, what is one of your favorite songs, favorite licensed song used in a game? You can let us know. You can send us a tweet at GamerheadsPC. You can go to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/GamerheadsPodcast and leave us a message there. You can send us an email at info@GamerheadsPodcast and leave us a message there. Or you can go to our website, GamerheadsPodcast.com, and let us know there as well. All right, so let's move on to the news. We got a couple items here. Christian, you want to take the first one?
Yeah, this one's from Push Square in honor of Batman turning 80. From now until the 6th of October, Bat-themed location items and cosmetic skins can be found in the world's biggest battle royale, aka Fortnite. Tilted Town has been turned into Gotham City. A new area of the map gives players unlimited glider redeploys. Elsewhere, the Batman grapple gun and explosive batarangs can be found in-game, if you're lucky enough to loot them.
That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
That is kind of cool. I mean, I kind of wish that I was into Fortnite sometimes, because they always do all these fun themed things that I think would be really fun.
I know. I'm the same way. When they did the Thanos one with the gauntlet, I was like, oh, I'm going to play that. And I played it, and I'm like, this sucks. I can't play this game.
You like the idea of it more than the execution.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, some of the limited time stuff they do is pretty awesome. They had one that was just airplanes, and it was duos. So one person was flying the airplane, and the other person was on the wing with the machine gun.
You played that with your son, Mike.
I did, yeah, because I'm terrible at Fortnite. That's why I don't play it. But I kicked some butt in Star Fox back in the day. Ooh. So so I'm like, all right, just let me take care of the plane. You take care of the rest, and we dominated.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Was it kind of like Indiana Jones and his father?
Was his father on the wing of a plane at all?
No, he was in the back of the plane.
Oh,
Shooting.
then no, it wasn't.
Okay. Fly, yes. Land, no. Yeah, I like the idea. I just wish that I was more into it, because I'm a huge Batman fan, so this would have been right up my alley too. And I'm like, oh, this sounds so cool. So this limited stuff though, can you keep it? Like the grappling gun and the explosive batarangs, can you keep that?
Those, no, because you find those on the map. Okay. Because you start off on the map with nothing, so you got to find them. But things like the skins and items, if it's available to purchase, then yeah, you can keep them.
Okay.
They had there was a Star-Lord costume when Endgame came out. That was available for purchase, and then you can keep that.
That's cool. I mean, that's why they're making millions of dollars.
It's interesting how they're able to throw in both Marvel and DC stuff in there.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
What contract did they sign?
That's the crossover we've all been waiting for.
And did you hear that other rumor?
What?
That they're teaming up with Splatoon.
Really?
Yeah.
Epic Games?
Yeah, for Fortnite.
Interesting.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not sure. Again, rumor. I don't know how that would work, because we know how Nintendo is with other companies using their stuff.
Well, they're okay with
or other platforms. What I mean is other platforms.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it sounds cool. Yeah. And now you can play as your favorite football player too. So, oh my goodness, you can have Batman versus Star-Lord versus Aaron Rodgers. That's amazing.
Wow. Also, for Batman's 80th birthday, Epic Games is giving away for free 6 Batman games.
Yes.
So if you go on the Epic Games Store, you can get Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight, and Lego Batman's 1, 2, and 3 for free.
Wow.
On PC.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
So now I own like 5 copies of Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, we should say happy birthday, Batman, by the way. He's old, but he's still kicking it. Let's see. Blue, do you want to take the next one?
Sure. This comes from VentureBeat. Oops, sorry. Nope, I went ahead. Okay, from Nintendo Life. The Switch Lite teardown suggests it has the same drift-prone analog sticks as the standard model. So YouTube channel SpawnWave has conducted a teardown of the Switch Lite and seemingly confirmed that the new console has the same analog stick design as the original. The sticks on the Switch Lite do not have a different part number, and SpawnWave believes that the joysticks are, in terms of design and materials used, identical to the ones on the original model. The teardown has also revealed that the battery inside the Switch Lite is 16% smaller than the one inside the original, and the battery life is maintained due to a more power-efficient version of the console's processor. The Wi-Fi antenna has also been moved, presumably to improve reception.
Oh boy.
This was my concern when they came out with the Switch Lite. I said, are they going to have the problems with the the same Joy-Con drift thing? And it sounds like, I mean, obviously the system just came out, Friday, I think?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Thursday or Friday. So, I guess we'll see.
Why didn't they listen to you, Roger?
I know,
Why didn't they listen?
Well,
oh, it seems kind of silly considering, I mean, Nintendo is fully aware of all the bad press from the drifting joysticks. And so it seems silly that they wouldn't address it, that they would release a new product without addressing it, especially one that's got to be more expensive to repair than the Joy-Cons.
Well, yeah, and how crappy, right? So now, at least with the original system, like if I have Joy-Con drift issues, I can just, I mean, sucks, but I can go buy a new Joy-Con. But this,
or you can send your old ones in, but you still have your system.
Yeah, exactly. This time you send it in, and you're like, well, I'm stuck without a system.
Yeah, for, I don't know, what's it take, 6 weeks? Something like that?
Something like that. That's a long time to be without a system.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would make me so mad. You know, it's funny though, because I just, so my daughter has been asking, can I play Stardew Valley? Can I play Stardew Valley? Can I play Stardew Valley? And she always wants to play it on my Switch. So finally I bought it on the Vita because I don't play my Vita all that often, and she loves it. And I thought, here's a system. Here's a system that could have the same problems, but it doesn't. It's like a better Nintendo Switch Lite.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll find out, though, if they run into issues. But I feel like the production probably was already... the Switch Lites were probably in production by the time all this negative press hit with the Joy-Con drifts. I don't know what they could have done. They've probably
delayed
been
the release.
Maybe. I mean,
they'll delay games if they're not ready.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So my second Joy-Con drift has been going on. My second issue with this now has been going on, and I think I had to switch for a year and a half. So maybe a year from now, people will start complaining. Hey, wait a minute, what the hell?
Yeah.
Well, to keep an eye on that.
See. Yeah, it'll probably be big news if and when.
Yeah. Yep. Mike, do you want to take the last one there?
Sure, and this one comes from VentureBeat. The video game business is still growing despite some disruption. The industry tracking firm NPD Group is estimating that the video game industry will generate a total of $44.6 billion in the United States this year. This is up 6% over 2018's $42.2 billion. But the steady growth, it looks somewhat disappointing relative to the explosive year-over-year gains of 2017 and 2018. The last 3 years have been a period of remarkable performance for the U.S. video game market, NPD analyst Matt Piscatella wrote in a blog post. While 2019 is not forecast to reach the double-digit percentage gains we've seen in recent years, continued strength in mobile, growth in digital spending on consoles, and a thriving Nintendo Switch platform are projected to be the primary factors that will lead to $44.6 billion in annual customer spend for the total video games industry in the U.S. That's an increase of 6%. Sales of video game content, which includes full game sales, downloadable content, and microtransactions, as well as subscriptions across mobile, casual, portable, and PC, is forecast to grow by 9% when compared to a year ago to $37.8 billion, wrote Piscatella. Mobile and console digital growth is expected to offset declines across other content segments such as physical and PC digital. Sales of console and portable hardware are forecast to reach $4.4 billion, a decline of 12% when compared to 2018, he also said. And growth in sales of the Nintendo Switch hardware is expected to be offset by declines across PlayStation 4 and Xbox One hardware.
Yeah.
That's a lot of numbers. But I will say this.
Numbers.
Considering we are at the tail end of this generation, that's not too bad.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that I think that they pointed out in there is that, video game sales are still strong, but it seems like game services are now, subscription services are starting to also pick up, right? So I don't know. It's weird. Like, we'll see where this goes. I read an article on, I want to say it was either IGN or some other site, something like, it was either IGN or Kotaku, I'm not sure. But they were talking about how subscription services are doing away with us buying games at full price, $60. Why buy a game at $60 now when you can buy a subscription service?
Polygon did an article about that.
Oh, Polygon. It was Polygon. Sorry, you're right. It was Polygon. I knew it was one of those sites. So, yeah. So they talked about that. Like, why buy games at $60 now when you can buy a gaming system or a gaming service instead? And they mentioned like Gears of War 5. And they said, obviously you don't own the game, but day one you can play it for $9.99 a month, and you can play other games too instead of paying $60. And I guess that's a good question. Do you think that the $60 like games are the day of the past? Do you think like gaming subscription services are going to, I don't know, take over and people won't pay full price for games anymore?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
All right.
There's no subscription service.
Conversation over.
There's no subscription service that can get you Link's Awakening or Super Mario
right.
Odyssey or Mario Kart 8.
Not yet. No, they're never going to do that. Nintendo will never do that. They'll never do that.
And that's fine with me because physical copy reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the subscription services are when you're not confident that you can sell all of your titles at full price, right?
Yeah.
You know that your consumers are going to have to pick a few, and then the rest you won't get the sales from. And so you offer a subscription service and hope that you'll get more money in the long run. But I think Nintendo is quite confident that they can actually sell all of their titles to all of their customers at full price.
Yeah.
That's why they stay full price for so long, too, I'm sure.
Yep. Yeah, I know we mentioned this before, but even Wii titles, like good Wii titles are still at like $40 a piece. The first party games. And I'm like, man, it's so hard to find used games really cheap for the Nintendo systems. But I think you hit something there, Blue. I think you're right. I think that they feel like they can't, like you said, they can't sell all their titles. So, hey, let's do a subscription service. And maybe in hopes that somebody would play it and say, hey, this game's really good. You should go out and buy it. Or my other thought is that eventually that subscription service will, take the game off of the subscription service. And then you're either going to be stuck with not playing that game anymore or have to go out and buy it. But by that time, it might be used price anyway. But the other thing for me is like Gears of War 5. Like I have that game on my Xbox Game Pass, and I played it a few times, and it's a good game. But because I pay $9.99 a month, I don't feel like I have to. Like it sounds weird, but like I don't value it as much because it's $9.99.
I'll agree with that. I agree absolutely because you don't feel like you own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I know exactly what you're talking about. Like a lot of those games that are on the PlayStation Plus, like I'll download and then I don't know how many of them I've actually played.
I know. Exactly. Me too. And they're games that I've wanted to play and I wanted to buy when they first came out. But when they come out on the services, I download them. I'm like, oh, I'm going to play this. And then I don't because...
Well, Roger, I don't think your opinion here actually counts, though. Because how many times have we been on the show and you say, oh, I own that game. I haven't played it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, Roger.
That's touche. That's a good point.
Yeah. So you wouldn't play it even if you did own it. The difference is you would just feel a little bit guilty about it.
Yes, I feel that is exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't have any guilt for not playing it. But if I bought it, I feel guilty. Like Link's Awakening. Although, we'll get into it when we talk about games we're playing. I did buy that, and I do like it. And I do feel guilty if I don't play it. That's all I had for news. Do you guys have anything else?
No. There's a as a PSA, there's a Sony State of Play coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Last of Us 2 footage rumored. More Last of Us 2.
Possible Iron Man information.
Oh.
PSVR.
Mm-hmm. Medieval. I think they're going to talk about Medieval.
That's coming in a month, I think. Next month. That's soon.
The other thing that I was going to mention, that Rockstar also has their own game launcher now.
Yes, download it now for free, San Andreas.
Yeah. So, welcome to the world of publishers coming out with their own launchers.
Yep.
It's similar to like the cable channels and stuff. Where you
everybody's got their own subscription service
like
now.
HBO has their own. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. This will be an interesting time in games for sure. But at least we know that the game industry is still strong, so that's a good sign. All right, so let's move on to listener feedback. And listeners, you can get a hold of us. Christian, how can they send us a tweet?
At Gamerheads PC on Twitter.
And how can they send us an email?
info@gamerheadspodcast.com.
And what about our Facebook page?
Facebook.com/gamerheadspodcast.
And finally, our website.
Gamerheadspodcast.com. New and revamped.
I was just going to say that. Thanks to Blue, we have a new and revamped website. Blue, it looks fantastic. Nice job.
Thank you.
Yes.
So go check it out. It's like, I am so impressed with what you did with what I had before. So
I won't tell you how long it took.
Uh-oh. Now I feel bad. I can imagine it took a long time because even the crappy one that I put together took a really long time. So now I feel guilty. Last week we asked the question, what video game have you beaten the most? And here's some of your feedback. So, Mike, do you want to take the first one there?
Sure. This comes from Crunchy Kong, and he tweeted, number 1, Mega Man X by a large margin. Number 2, Castlevania. Number 3, DuckTales. Number 4, Mega Man 2. And number 5, Super Punch-Out, although this probably isn't completely accurate. You know what? I just got to throw out to Crunchy Kong right now. Awesome work on actually being able to beat Castlevania.
I know. I was going to say
Castlevania.
Yeah, that's the same thing. That game's really hard.
So you guys didn't play it when they did the RGB high score last season, because that was one of the games.
Yeah, I didn't want to embarrass myself.
Yeah, I didn't either.
A lot of the people who played, like, they not only beat it, like, they know how precisely to farm for points to just put up ridiculous scores.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's that's quite the list. Yeah, Castlevania, I have never beaten the first one.
Yeah.
Have you, Christian?
Yeah, I have once.
Oh, okay.
He's like, yeah.
Oh, he's offended that you even asked. How dare you, sir?
Well, I wasn't sure if it was before his time of gaming, so that's why I asked. So, Christian, want to take the next one?
Scaredy Matt tweeted, Demon Souls must have completed it 10 or more times. So addictive.
That game is really hard. Scaredy Matt, how did you beat it 10 or more times? That's a really tough game.
Yeah.
There's those people who prefer Demon Souls over Dark Souls.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're like, I was with it when it was original and not cool to like Souls games.
When was that not cool?
When Demon Souls first came out, probably.
Yeah.
When Castlevania first came out.
Just because they didn't know what it was yet?
Yes. And then Dark Souls came out on Xbox 360, and then everyone's like, oh my gosh, this thing is amazing! But Dark Souls also made marked improvements to like the level design, and it was more of a Metroidvania. Demon Souls is more of like a segregated level-based thing. So they're not the exact same thing, but there's those people out there who are like, I liked it before it was cool, guys.
Yeah. There's a really good podcast episode out there for the Retronauts. If you ever listen to the podcast Retronauts, they talked about Demon Souls and the influence that the creators had. And apparently that game was going to be a throwaway game from who was the company that made it?
From Software?
From Software. I was going to say that. I was like, it is From Software, yes. But it was like a failed game, and they went with it anyway. And you should listen if you're interested in the history behind it. Retronauts has a really good episode. It's their last episode on Demon Souls. Very interesting. Blue, do you want to take the next one?
At Catching Cinema tweeted, probably Mega Man X and Turtles in Time. Side note, I beat Batman Returns for the Super Nintendo last night while editing the podcast. Not a hard game by any means, but definitely an underrated beat 'em up.
100% agree. That game is so good.
Did you choose this comment just so you could say that?
I may have. No, that game is really good. That is, and being Batman being 80, that was also a good tie-in too. But yeah, that is a good game. Mike, do you want to take the next one?
Sure, and this comes from @ConsoleGamer, and they tweeted, XCOM. I used to beat it every year for several years, and maybe Mega Man 2, which I beat whenever I play it. Good choice on the Mega Man 2. Mm-hmm. I've beat that game a lot. That's my favorite. I'm sure with a lot of other people, that's my favorite out of the Mega Man games.
You
Have you
both,
beaten
Mike.
Mega Man 1?
Yes, I beat Mega Man 1.
Okay.
Not until I wasn't able to beat it until I purchased the Mega Man collection on the GameCube, which for some reason had the A and B buttons mixed up and you couldn't change it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's
Really?
brutal.
Yeah, so I ended up buying it for the PlayStation 2 instead. And then I was able to beat it with using that control scheme. But yeah, when it came out on the GameCube, they had the A and B buttons messed up, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't train my brain after I've been indoctrinated for Mega Man's 1 through 6.
Does that mean B was
What are you
jump?
doing to me? Yeah.
E. Weird.
That is weird.
So.
But it's funny that you say that because I've been playing some more of my Xbox recently, and you know how the A button is on the bottom, and then for the for the Nintendo, the B button's on the bottom, and that throws me off every time now.
Or X is in a different spot on every console. PlayStation, it's the bottom. Xbox, it's on the left, and Nintendo, it's on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was somebody that I was talking to, actually it was probably about a month ago, and I don't know how the subject came up, but it came up on Mega Man. And I'm like, oh, how are you? I'm like, you played Mega Man? How far did you get? He's like, I cannot beat that giant yellow monster. And I'm like, you do know about the lightning bolt trick, right? And it's just the look on his face when I explained how you could beat that boss in a matter of seconds by rapidly pausing the game was like, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna do this right now. Bye.
Yeah. Yellow Devil sucks.
Yeah, that's why remember the NES Advantage? And it had the slow motion in there?
Oh, yeah.
Which was really just you hitting pause several times.
Yeah.
I beat a lot of games that way, using the Advantage. Yeah. Or the turbo button. Could turn the turbo on. That was weird.
There was an article that I was reading this morning on Nintendo Life about how the AI in Street Fighter 2 went to ridiculous levels of cheating. The harder the game, in the harder difficulty levels, it didn't make the game more challenging. It made the game more unfair. And in one of the comments, somebody said the only way that they were able to beat the AI in the harder levels of Street Fighter 2 was to use one of those controllers that rapidly pause the game. Oh. So he was able to think ahead.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, the things we did to beat games, huh? Well, thank you, listeners, for giving us the feedback. Let's move on to games that we're currently playing. And Blue, we'll start with you. What games are you currently playing?
Well, today, this is September 22nd, Sunday, when we're recording. Today is the Mario Kart Deluxe 8
That's
North
right.
American Open.
Uh-oh.
And it goes from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific time.
Uh-oh.
Go Blue.
So, yeah. So
That's
this
during the
week,
Packer game.
well, yeah, after the Packer game, I'm going to run right home and jump in. So, yeah, I dropped everything this week and have just been practicing Mario Kart 8.
Wow.
Is it 150cc?
Yes. So the rules are 150cc. It's all the vehicles, all the normal items. The big deal is no smart steering, which I love it because that will even the playing field so much. And so
That's the thing that keeps you on the
6-year-olds.
track, right?
right.
Yeah.
And it's the one where if you're trying to take a shortcut or whatever and you don't do it absolutely perfectly, it won't allow you to take the shortcut. It'll steer you back onto the main. Yeah. So, it's a 24 race session, I guess. And every fourth match you get shuffled. So, and then, next week, after Nintendo has time to look over all the scores, they'll choose the top 8 to receive rewards in My Nintendo Gold points.
Yeah, I think it's like $25, right?
Yeah, something like that. So, I mean, it's not a lot of money, and it's only 8 people are going to win anything, and that's not going to be me, but... So, we'll see. I don't know. I think it's
Do you have
going
all
to
the
be fun.
shortcuts memorized, Blue?
Not all of them. There's so many tracks in 8, and I've never taken it that seriously. So I didn't ever anticipate.
24 races is a lot.
It is.
Well, it's not. When we play Double Dash, we usually do the one where it's all the races. That's 16.
Wow. How long does it take you to do that?
That takes about an hour.
Okay.
So with this one, I don't know if you're allowed more than one shot because I feel like whoever can just do the most races will win.
Yeah.
I also don't know how the scoring is going to work because if it works like in the regular cups where you just first place gets 15 points and then on down, they wouldn't be able to differentiate probably the top 8 players very easily.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it'll work.
At least you're not stuck racing against AI, right? It's all players against players.
I believe so.
Yeah, there you go.
I think the AI is easier to beat.
There's one track where I was watching this speedrunner and they got the world record on a track, but they still got second place because of the rubber bandy AI. It just went past them right at the end.
Oh my goodness.
But he still got the world record, but he got second place. So that computer has the fastest lap on that track ever in the world at that point in time, at least.
I was going to say, yeah.
Okay, that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been trying to experiment with different combinations of, the vehicles and the wheels and the drivers and the gliders. And I was doing some research to try to find out, like, what are the optimal combinations? And everybody says something different.
Do the gliders even make a difference, or are they just there for cosmetic?
That's the thing. Some other people say that they don't make any difference at all. And then some people say, well, like, if you choose the cloud glider, it'll give you a little more acceleration. That kind of stuff. So now I don't really know what I'm supposed to do.
It can also depend on the track. Can you switch in between tracks?
That doesn't appear to be something that's allowed.
Okay.
So I think you just need to choose the best overall.
Gotcha. Do you have a go-to, Blue, that you play when you're just normally playing?
Yeah, I normally choose the Master Cycle Zero with Link. And then...
The motorcycle?
Yeah, I prefer the motorcycles, which apparently is not a thing that people like.
Oh, I don't like them. I don't know how you can control that thing, Blue.
Well, the Master Cycle Zero, if you add the ancient tires, that gives you the most traction of any combination, I believe. And so I like it because you can have a more precise drift. But I don't know. My go-to
is after you finish all the Grand Prix or whatever, and then you need a certain amount of coins, and then you get gold Mario, and then you get gold Kart, and then you get gold wheels, and then you get gold glider. So I'm all golded out. Max acceleration, least turning capabilities possible.
Least turning?
Yes. Handling is 0, but my top speed is all the way up.
See, I think that it really depends on what kind of driver you are, because everybody's talking about how to max out your acceleration and max out your speed. But if you're just going to go off the track, that's not going to help you.
Yeah, definitely. But that Excite Bike track, that's just straightaways.
Yeah.
Well, that's one.
That's true.
So we're good with that one track, but the rest of them, like Rainbow Road, I don't know how you would do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to brake.
Braking.
Yeah. Yeah, I play with bikes too. I agree. I mean, I don't know. I find, and I actually use the same. I use the Link bike as well. So I don't know. I want to participate in this, but I know I'm going to get my butt kicked as well.
You can't just use the Link bike.
What?
Okay, there's the Master Cycle and there's the Master Cycle Zero, and there are drastic differences between those two.
I don't know. It's the black one with the gold on it. What's that? I don't know my Zelda.
Because I hate the Master Cycle, but I like the Master Cycle Zero.
Well, what's the Zero? What's the Zero bike?
I don't know. The regular Master Cycle, the drifts are so wide. It's ridiculous.
What's the Zero look like? What's that bike look like?
It looks very similar to the regular Master Cycle.
Oh, okay.
They look kind of the same. I think it's just a slight difference in tone.
Oh, okay. I probably don't have that unlocked. Do you have to unlock that or something, I'm assuming?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I probably don't have that unlocked. Then I just have the regular Master Cycle.
Now, Blue, you said that they don't allow the steering assist.
Right.
Do they allow the auto acceleration assist?
That is not on the rules that I'm looking at, whether it's allowed or not.
I actually leave that on when I'm playing 150cc, and I guess a lot of other people do too, just because it can give your thumb a rest so that you don't have to sit there and hold A the whole time.
That's not a terrible idea. I might consider that, considering it's going to be a 24 race deal. Because extrapolating from playing Double Dash, the 16 race cup, that takes an hour. So this would be nearly 2 hours.
Yeah.
Oy.
Well, an hour and a half.
Yeah. It's long. You have to keep your Switch plugged in, or do you play on the TV, right?
I play on the TV. Are you kidding?
Yeah, that's right.
I have all of my Pro controllers are charged up.
Oh,
smart.
So I wonder how many entries that you're allowed.
Yeah. Well,
Keep us updated.
yeah,
I will.
exactly.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
You have to tweet out your scores when you finish.
We'll see what they are first. Otherwise, I'll just be like, "Good game, everyone."
Yeah.
So, but you were racing against real people at the time when you're racing?
I assume so.
Oh,
That's going to make it a lot harder. People
Yeah.
are way smarter.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. It's not the cheaty rubber bandy AI, but
Yeah.
like they know where's the right place to put that stupid banana,
Totally.
and they know where to use their mushrooms and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. Cool. Are you playing anything else?
I also need to play because this week for the RGB High Score Challenge is Castle of Illusion.
Yeah.
So I have never played that before, and people are already posting scores like in the 500,000.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So I don't think the odds are in my favor, but I need to submit a score for that as well. The last day is Monday.
Yeah.
It's a very busy video game weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very competitive.
Very competitive, yes, as well.
Yeah, actually, I made a post on that, and if you want to know more of the challenges, I'll post every challenge on our website, so you can check that out on our website too. So
Yeah, everybody should participate because it's fun. It's fun to play these old games, especially the titles that you wouldn't normally choose for yourself.
yeah, and in this season is all Sega Genesis, right?
Right.
Yeah. So cool. Anything else?
That's it.
Christian, what have you been playing?
Since we last talked, I played through Greedfall, finished Greedfall. So my opinion on that hasn't changed too much. It's neat. It's cool. It scratches a BioWare itch in a world where BioWare has died and has gone off working on Anthem, which changed its DLC post-release cycle to kind of fizzle out of existence, while EA hopefully doesn't close BioWare. I hope they don't. But Greedfall's here in the meantime to play some action RPG goodness, strongly inspired by the Western RPGs of BioWare of times past.
I have to say real fast because I went to a used game store the other day and they had an entire shelf that was full of Anthem games that had been traded back in.
Oh.
That's awesome.
It was just, seriously, there were so many of them. And I almost took a picture, but I was like, this is actually it's just sad. It's not that funny. It's just sad.
Yeah. Jeez. They also moved it. Origin EA has like a subscription service thing, and they moved Anthem from the top tier subscription service to the like middle tier, so it doesn't cost as much to play Anthem now on a monthly basis. So you can play it for a month for like $10 and then decide you don't like it.
They're like, please play it.
Yep.
Pretty please.
Well, I also heard that they were not going to make any more updates to the game, right?
They changed how they're going to do the updates because, like, as soon as the game dropped, they had this whole timeline. They're like, this month is going to be this event, and then 5 months later, we're going to do this big thing. And then they came out with the first, like, one of those on the roadmap, the first big one, and then they're like, okay, we're not going to be doing the rest of this anymore. Sorry.
Are they doing that because they couldn't manage the schedule, or because nobody cared and it was a waste of time?
Probably that second one. Yeah, I don't know if they gave like a concrete reason other than just, yeah, sorry, we're going to be switching the release schedule.
Well, I also read, and I don't know how true this is, but I read that that just the platform itself, the platform, or the engine that was built on, like they said, the things they want to do, they'll have to overhaul everything if they want to do all the things they wanted to do. So they're just not going to work on it because it's not worth it to them. That's what I read. I don't know how true that is.
I know there's a lot of problems with Anthem's development because of the engine, because it's built in the Frostbite engine, and I think that's what EA makes everyone develop everything in these days, and that was originally developed by DICE, who made that engine for the Battlefield games. So now Frostbite is used for everything. Battlefield, Battlefront, FIFA, and Anthem, which is like a persistent online third-person shooter. And I remember reading somewhere they had to like figure out just how to get a persistent loot system in that engine, because that engine is just built for Twitch third-person or first-person shooting and not much else.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have to go off the rails on this, but that game went from like one of the top games toward at the end of last year that people were excited about to
including you, Roger,
including me, exactly, to basically non-existent.
It crashed hard and fast.
It did.
So yeah, I played through Greedfall. That was happy. And then what I really wanted to talk about was the 5 or so hours I spent in the Modern Warfare open beta on PC is where I spent my time, but it's cross-platform. So I've been able to play with some PS4 and Xbox people, which is weird. I think that cross-platform play will actually give the PC the PC community on Call of Duty multiplayer some legs, because back in the day, back in college, I did my first PC Call of Duty, and it was Advanced Warfare. And for like the first week, it was a lot of fun. I was having a blast. Ran into a hacker who got me up like 3 prestiges within the first few days. And then after like a month, I would go back to it and try playing it again. And the only people still playing Call of Duty multiplayer on PC a month after release are the really, really good people. And so you can't really compete unless you start getting really good. And so Advanced Warfare, I stuck with it because I had it on PC. I was invested. So I tried my darndest. And then like after like 2 months, I fell off of it. And I was like, I would like to get back to Call of Duty multiplayer and just play it for fun. But I know the only people still playing on PC are crazy good. And I did the same with Black Ops 3. I didn't learn my lesson, got Black Ops 3 on PC, played through the campaign on the hardest difficulty, which was a lot of fun on PC. But when it came to multiplayer, I got my diamond snipers by like getting a ton of headshots with all the snipers. And then I called it good after about a month and got the heck out of that PC user base as soon as possible, because they were insanely good people. And hopefully with Modern Warfare, allowing access to some of the Xbox and PS4 players will give it some longer legs, so to speak.
Cool.
And
nice.
The Modern Warfare beta is very fascinating. So I started out playing some regular old Team Deathmatch. It's Team Deathmatch. Apparently they didn't have a mini-map for the first beta, and people really complained, so they re-added the mini-map, which is interesting. I like the idea of not having a mini-map, because that kind of changes what you're looking at all the time. Because now when I'm playing Call of Duty, I'm just sitting there looking at the minimap the whole time, looking for where the gunshots are coming from. And there are still some modes, thankfully, that don't have the minimap. There's a fun little team-based mode where there's like an objective, a bomb that you're trying to plant, but it's not search and destroy like Counter-Strike. It's more, I don't know, it's its own thing, because when you die, you can revive the person, but when you die, you can't get it back up. So that was cool. It was neat. I was enjoying it. The guns feel like a little more kinetic. There's more movement, loosey-goosey stuff going on. I think that's a symptom of the new engine. So thumbs up from there. And it's kind of similar to Battlefield in the sense that the guns are kind of moving around a lot, which is interesting. It feels more dynamic, which I like. And then I jumped into the ground war mode, which is kind of what they're touting for this beta push, is this ground war mode. And earlier not earlier Call of Duty games, but like World at War, Modern Warfare 2, they had a mode called Ground War, which was essentially the same maps, and it was capture the point, capture these 3 points, and then they like bumped up the player count by like 2 more. This ground war mode in the latest Call of Duty Modern Warfare game is Battlefield. It's straight up Battlefield. It's like, I think it's 32 versus 32, 64 players on a massive map, complete with spawning on squad mates, which is straight out of Battlefield, complete with capturing the points very slowly, which is straight out of Battlefield, complete with vehicles to get from point A to B faster, which is straight out of Battlefield, and even like the spawn animation where the camera like pans and zooms down, straight out of Battlefield 1 and 5. So they are clearly going for the Battlefield thing. I don't know if they're going for the audience. I think it's just bonkers to me, because I remember like playing World at War back in the day, and I would have like World at War or Modern Warfare 3, and then I would have Battlefield 3. And they are very different experiences. One's more of a tighter arena shooter, and then the other one is like this crazy, massive Battlefield type situation. And so I enjoyed getting a little bit of both from both games, and I would have to go to different places for those different experiences. And now they just shoved it all into Call of Duty, and it's insane. Because I remember being little and being like, man, this wouldn't work being in this huge map. And here we are, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and it almost works in this huge map. Because you got the same kill streaks, you got the same tight gun handling. Now it opens things up a bit, so there's actually some longer-term engagements. And it's weird because it feels like the Battle Royale mode in the last Call of Duty was almost in preparation of this, where it's just mass chaos, concentrated action in one point, kill streaks firing off. You got airstrikes coming in left and right, and you've got people crammed into buildings, shotgunning each other all the time, trying to capture points just to try and get a foothold. It's absolute chaos, but that's kind of what Battlefield is. And I think it's fascinating that they're trying to get their foothold in that market. And not only is there's this huge ground war mode, which is Battlefield, but there's also those very small engagements, and even smaller scale than previous Call of Duties with the 2v2 mode, where it's just a small map. It's 2 of you versus 2 other people. And once you take them out, you win. And so there's these 2 vastly different playstyles that are in this Call of Duty game that make me like very excited in a weird way. They're reinventing the Call of Duty formula in really interesting ways that a lot of people don't seem to be picking up on when they're just like, oh, it's another Call of Duty. It's the same thing. So it's fascinating.
So do you think that the game will eclipse the Battlefield games to the point where they did a much better job that people will be like, yeah, this is what I wanted out of those experiences, and then convince people that play the Battlefield games to come to the Call of Duty games instead?
That's a good question. I think Battlefield is currently on its off cycle with Battlefield 5 coming out last year. I think they take a couple of years. And I've got some people I talk with at lunch. One of them is a pretty big Battlefield person, and he fell off of it really hard. And he said a lot of the community is too, because they're trying to support it with patches that are kind of tone deaf as far as what the community wants. So I think this game will probably take some of the audience away from Battlefield and bring it over to this new Call of Duty, because there's basically the Battlefield mode in there, if that's what you want. And I think the Battlefield community is also heavily PC focused, at least in the battle between Battlefield and Call of Duty. The PC people tend to gravitate towards the Battlefield, but this might change that a little bit, and the cross-platform play also might help facilitate that.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly interesting, and those things, similar to Fortnite, like it really fascinates me, and I want to play those types of games, but because I suck at them, then I just get frustrated and I don't play them. But it's certainly something that appeals to me. It sounds cool.
Really? Battlefield appeals to you?
Yeah. I mean, I have them. I own them.
Have you played them a lot?
I own them. Awesome callback.
No, I played Battlefield 5.
Okay.
And I played Battlefronts, which is Battlefield, except in Star Wars world. Okay. So I played those games. Right. And I have Battlefield 4, and I like it. I played that. So I like the games. I'm just not good at them, and then I get frustrated. Like, Battlefield 5 I got so frustrated with because you'd be hit by somebody so far away, you don't even see your person that killed you, and you're like, what just killed me? And it's not fun. And I sit there and I get sniped off, and I'm like, that's not fun. Why do I want to play this anymore?
Yeah, that's why I didn't like Battlefield 4, because I got Battlefield 4 on PC when it was like $10 for everything. And so that was like 2 years after there was this user base in there playing it for those entire 2 years. And I would spawn and die on the spot because I was getting sniped across the map because there was someone in a helicopter flying above me, mowing down the spawn points. And it was frustrating because I couldn't get my foot in the door at that point. And because there was attachments on guns, I didn't know what they did. People were using weapons I didn't know existed. And so that was frustrating for me. But I got in on the ground floor in Battlefield 1. And that one I put like 120 hours into it, mostly in the multiplayer, because I had a blast. They stripped back a lot of those attachments, largely because they didn't exist in World War I. And it made for a simpler, tighter experience where I could actually kill people and actually have fun because there weren't helicopters flying overhead blowing up my spawn locations.
Yeah. No, did I say Battlefield 5? I meant Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1.
Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
Really?
I liked it. I liked the fact that it was like World War One, but it still sucked. I still sucked at the game. I still didn't. I liked playing the single. I liked playing the campaign. I didn't like playing multiplayer.
When you, Roger, when you play a game online, and I mean in any game or skill or craft for the most part, you're bound to be bad in the beginning. Do you ever buckle down and be like, okay, I'm going to get good at this. I'm going to break through?
No. Don't. because I don't want because there's too many games to play and I don't have time to sit there and try to get good at one game. Okay. I have to move on. If I'm not good at it, if I'm not just a natural, I'm not planning to play that game anymore.
Interesting.
Are you serious?
Kind of. I mean, outside of Mario Kart, I will play Mario Kart and keep working on that, or Splatoon, I keep working on that, but like because of the Battlefield games, like Battlefield 1, for instance, there's just so much stuff in the game. Like I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know what half the stuff even does. And there's like guns with attachments, and you can get different Battlefield, at least there was like loot, or Battlefront, I should say, there was loot boxes, and I'm like, I don't want to spend time on this. This is dumb. And then I just stopped playing. But
for me, the learning is the fun part. For me, I like seeing myself get better. Like someone killed me really bad, and I'm like, ooh, okay, I see the tactics he's using, and I can see kind of how he's thinking, and I can kind of adapt my brain to kind of use those tactics and maybe adapt some of those equipment items that he's using for my own purposes and to get better. Whereas once I plateau, it's not really fun anymore. Like once I'm just, as good as I'm ever going to get, then I don't feel like there's really much of a use for me to play anymore. Because at that point, I'm just mindlessly shooting at things and not developing my own personal skill set.
Yeah, see, I plateaued right away in the game. That's why I quit.
You're a fast plateauer, Roger.
I didn't say I went up. I just plateau. No, I don't. Competitive gaming I never really got into it. I just never did. I don't know why. And I should.
Online multiplayer isn't for everyone.
No, that's why I like RPGs, because you can, work on your character and move at your own pace. Ooh. You don't have to sit there and try to compete with other people. You can say, you know what? This is why I liked, this is why I like in school, where it's, it's just you, and you could go at your own pace sometimes, at least in college. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like Greedfall, available now on PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
See? There you go. Nice.
So played the Modern Warfare beta, liked it a lot. And then other than that, I'm getting to the end of Borderlands 3, almost done with it. I'm kind of at the last quest, I think, because it's very similar to the Borderlands 2 last quest, I'm thinking. I'm excited to get to the end and kind of immediately get into that post game, because that post game's where really good loot starts dropping. That's where you unlock a new skill tree to pump points into, which is a new feature for Borderlands 3, I think. I'm really excited for that. But really, still, I'm very high on Borderlands 3, enjoying it a lot. The story, the main plot line with the main bad guys, not as good. The main bad guys aren't as good as Handsome Jack. Handsome Jack, immediately became a fan favorite with just how disgusting and scummy he is. But there's side stuff here and there, and they continue plot lines set up in Tales from the Borderlands. Thank you, Gearbox. Thank you so much, because Tales from the Borderlands is my favorite Telltale game out of the ones I've played. And it was because they took this universe that's just so crass and just, just flailing around the story is. And I was like, how the heck are they going to make a meaningful Telltale story out of this? And they draw from the lore in very interesting ways in Tales from the Borderlands. They put a lot of emphasis on these gun manufacturers and how they're kind of like corporations, and how there's power dynamics within them and people who want to ascend the ranks and make them up there with these gun corporations. And Borderlands 3 continues those threads, and they continue to delve into these gun manufacturers in really great ways, because then you can put faces and characters and names to these guns that you're shooting, and it's just this extra layer of, you know what, I got a Jacobs gun and I'm gonna keep it because I like you, Mr. Jacobs. I like you.
That's cool. Yeah,
and the
that's one.
gunplay, still great, still really tight, still really satisfying. And the story is also very, like, they really care about the returning characters, which is awesome, because it's like wholesome in a way that no other Borderlands game has been. And they're just very respectful for the returning characters in a way that I feel like another game in like Borderlands 2, they wouldn't have cared to just, oh, here's another character. Oh, we blew him up. Sorry. And so they take their time with these returning characters, which I like a lot.
Nice. Cool. That's one game. See, I like the Borderlands games.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's one game that I would, and I like.
You own a bunch, Roger.
I do.
Already. Without the purchase of a $60 Borderlands 3 game.
I know. And I will play through the second one until I have enough money to buy the third one.
Nice.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, really enjoying it. There was one other thing with Borderlands 3, though. What was it? It's really fun. Really like it. Oh, there's some great cameos in Borderlands 3 also, which are very amusing, to say the least, especially knowing who Randy Pitchford, the CEO of Gearbox, is and all the crap he's gotten into over the past couple years in the lead up to Borderlands 3 makes it even more amusing in a way that's just like, how'd you do this, Randy? It's hilarious. Good stuff. There's plenty of stuff towards the tail end that will keep you enticed all the way through.
Nice. Cool. Anything else?
That's it.
Nice. Mike, what about you?
So last week I took part in a certain tournament.
Yeah.
I played Turtles in Time for the Retro Game Brews tournament, their monthly tournament, and I did better than I thought I would. I ended up coming in second place overall, which to me was a total shock because I am just not used to doing that well. So I was.
You did great.
You did. You did really good.
You. Well, thank you. Yeah, it was pretty crazy because I wasn't as much as I love that game. I was not. I was embarrassed to go because these people are so good at these games, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna get completely destroyed, and I'm gonna hate this game. I'm gonna throw my copy out the window. All that other good stuff.
I thought you were gonna win it because like you were actually time wise, you were doing really good, and then you died.
Yeah, it was those stupid foot soldiers with the frisbees, man. And and in the lead up to it, I was playing through that over and over and over, and I made it past them, no problem. But now I just choked.
Oh.
Yeah. But it was still fun.
Yeah.
So I played that, and then I also downloaded and played the demo for what is that? The new Contra game, Hardcore.
Oh
yeah.
Can you play as the bear?
No, you cannot play as the bear. You can play as the Bionic Commando guy.
Okay.
Well, not really him, but it's a guy that's got one bionic arm. So I played through that. The demo, it's just the first level, and it probably takes about maybe half an hour to 40 minutes to get through. And it was very impactful. I got through it. I beat the first boss, and it was so impactful on me that as soon as I finished, I immediately went on my computer, went to bestbuy.com, and I canceled my pre-order.
I was going to ask if it was as much of a mess as the trailer made it look like.
Oh man, I was, and I love Contra, and it was the fact that it was a Contra game is what sold me on it initially. And then when I played this demo, I'm like, this is absolute garbage.
Oh no.
It was slow. The controls were kind of wonky. And it was one of those games where they tried too hard to be edgy. So you've got this I don't know, sergeant or something talking to you over your headset, and she'll come in and she'll say, okay, watch out, there's guys coming this way, or something big and coming on radar, or something like that. But every other word is a swear from this person.
Oh, no.
Not that I don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with things like that, but it felt so forced.
Oh.
It felt like it was it felt kind of like a late 90s, early 2000s where everything was extreme and hardcore and crazy and over the top. And they absolutely failed at that type of presentation, which is interesting because there's a rumor that this game was finished for a long time and that Konami had just sat on it for a while, not knowing what to do with it, and then finally they were just like, you know what, let's just push it out and get it out of our.
That sounds like a Konami move. Is it just like a generic third-person shooter? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a generic top-down, isometric, twin stick shooter, gotcha. And it's just bad.
Is this
it really is?
Is this a Switch exclusive or is this coming out?
No, it's on the other systems too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was severely I'm glad they released the demo. So thank you, Konami, for releasing the demo. Really, really, really appreciate that. You saved me $30. But it's not a fun experience.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. And then on the other hand, though, I did dive into the backlog and I played Resident Evil Revelations 2.
Oh.
Do you have all the episodes, Mike?
Yeah, I bought the physical copy. So yeah.
Do the episode breaks? How does that work? Because this was initially an episodic game, right?
Yeah, it's still episodic.
Okay.
Yeah. So I played the first Revelations on the 3DS. It was one of my favorite games. I loved Resident Evil Revelations on my 3DS. And then I think I bought the that add-on for it. Do you remember when they had that big honkin' extra analog stick, the Circle Pad Pro add-on for the 3DS? I bought that just to play Resident Evil Revelations on the 3DS. But Revelations 2, man, am I enjoying this game. And I only went through the first chapter, and I know there's only like 4 chapters, but it took me a while. It took me about 2.5 hours to get through this first chapter, and I didn't even get all the collectibles and everything. I loved how the story was. I loved that it made me feel like I was playing a Resident Evil 4 game again.
That's awesome.
It didn't feel like Resident Evil 5 or 6. It was a lot slower. You had to be more methodical with with aiming. I love being able to switch between the two characters, and the one Moira uses a crowbar because she refuses to use a gun. So using her to hit a zombie with a gun, and then following up with Claire to do a finishing blow is just some real fun combos that you can do. And then when I get through the first part of the chapter, then it goes to another. It basically rewinds, and you go through almost the same level with Barry. Which is my all-time favorite Resident Evil character.
Interesting.
Barry Burton from Resident Evil 1. Him and his partner character, who's a little girl, and that he inexplicably meets on this prison island. And you're going through the same as one does. Yeah. In the Resident Evil world, it's not surprising. And I'm going through the same level, and I'm like, oh, I remember this from earlier, and it's just the getting through that first chapter. Again, it was so much fun. It reminded me of like Alan Wake in terms of the chapter, and then and that's what I really loved too, is that. I'm like, okay, you know what? This chapter's over. I can put the controller down and go do something else, and I can come back to it, because when you start the next chapter, it says previously on Revelations, so then it kind of recaps what you did in that first chapter. But it's a blast to play. I'm really enjoying it so far, so I'm hoping to continue that and to keep going.
Do you swap characters on the fly, Mike?
You can. There's some parts where you can't.
Okay.
Where it won't let you.
So it's like context sensitive. You can switch in some spots and not in others.
Yeah, majority of spots you can switch, but there's some where you're playing as that character for a reason, so you have to get through that one section before you can swap back.
I gotcha. Is there like a shop like Resident Evil 4? Are you buying upgrades and ammo and stuff?
No. Well, okay, so that's a good question. At the end of each chapter, so depending on how many, so you can find like the different gems, and the gems are worth BP. I don't know, that's their form of currency. Mm-hmm. And you can also do things. There's in-game achievements for each chapter. Mm-hmm. And if you do all those, you get there's bronze, there's silver, gold, different medals that you can get, and then whichever one you do, like there was one that says kill 10 zombies with headshots, or kill 10 zombies with melee, or things like that. So you get BP points by doing that as well. There's also, they brought back, I love this, they brought back the medallions from Resident Evil 5.
Yes.
Those shiny blue awesome shields that are hidden really well throughout the game that you have to shoot. So you get points by doing those as well. And at the end of each chapter, you can use those points to level up your characters. Now, it's in terms of leveling up, there's different things you can do. There's things like make your shots more powerful, of course. But then there's one that says increases damage while crouching.
Oh.
There's one that says evade quicker, or there's one that says momentary invincibility after crouching. Like, very interesting, different types of perks. And so then you can unlock those and level those up as well. Wow. The other thing is hidden throughout the game. There's and I think they did this in the first Resident Evil Revelations. There's gun packs that you can find, and if you find a workbench, you can go to that workbench, and each gun pack, when you open it, is its own thing, like damage plus 1.5 or times 1.5, or
Loot boxes?
No, not well. I mean, you open a box and there's some loot in there.
Yeah.
But you're not paying for it.
I know.
Or things like a larger capacity or faster reloading. And you can take those out and add them to your different guns as you see fit. So I'm like, oh, I got this fast reload. And I'm like, all right, you're going right into my shotgun. Or the one that had higher capacity, I'm like, you're going right into my my Magnum. You know.
Interesting.
So yeah, there's some good customization in there. I did get a couple of jump scares, which I haven't had in a while.
Ooh.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
So I am absolutely having a blast with that because I need to get my Resident Evil. I got to get through. Hold on, I'm looking at my backlog. I got to get through Resident Evil Revelations 2. I still have to get through Resident Evil 6. And I got to go through Resident Evil 7 now that I have a VR, and I still got to do the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Oh my goodness.
And then they just announced that other Resident Evil Left 4 Dead type game, so hooray me.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then other than that, I'm just playing Tetris 99 so much that when I go to sleep, all I see are dropping blocks, and that's not even a joke.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, I gotta calm myself down. Like I even started watching. There was a Tetris tournament on Twitch yesterday. I was watching that. So
Oh my gosh.
I read this thing one time, and I don't remember where I read it, but they were talking about what Tetris shows for people with brain damage and memory problems, because they would have these people who have severe memory loss, and they would have them play Tetris during the day. And then they talk to them later, and the people would describe seeing these colored blocks, like when they close their eyes, yet they didn't remember playing the game.
Oh,
but
wow.
they still, somewhere in their brain, they registered having seen it.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's interesting, too, because my wife swears she told me to take out the garbage while I was playing Tetris. I don't remember that at all.
Oh, Mike.
Nice.
So that's all I played.
Okay, cool. For myself, I mentioned this before, but I've been playing Link's Awakening. I got that on Friday.
Oh, so you
And
actually got a copy.
I did get a copy. I did.
Since your pre-order was canceled.
So I called them up on Friday. So I thought it came out on Thursday, and I didn't get anything. I didn't get an email. I didn't get a call. I didn't get anything. And I said, oh, man, things are going to go. I'm going to tell you, poop is going to hit the fan right now, because if it's still canceled. And I went to my online, and it said, you don't have any pre-orders. I'm like, oh, I do. Oh, I do. And then I realized it came out on Friday. And I said, okay, I'll give them until Friday. So I called them up on Friday, and I said, hey, I pre-ordered Link's Awakening, and I also pre-ordered the Amiibo. I paid for the Amiibo up front. Do you have that in for me? They're like, yep, it's right here. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went in, and when you pre-order, you get a poster. And I said, hey, do I get one of those posters? And they said, yeah. And they opened the package. So apparently they weren't giving out any posters to anybody at this point.
What?
Yeah. And I said, oh, am I the first person that's getting a poster? And they had, like, I don't know, like the package came probably with like 60 of these posters, right?
Yeah.
Probably more than they had of games. And they said, yeah, do you want to? And I said,
Yeah.
sure, I guess. Yeah. And they're like, okay. And then the guy behind me said, well, I'm here for the game too. And they're like, okay, cool. Did you pre-order it? And he said, no. And he said, well, we're all out of copies. It's like, oh man. So again, it makes me think that they only had enough copies for the pre-orders, which is weird, especially with a big game like Legend of Zelda, right? Link's the remake of Link's Awakening. I will say, I always get that game mixed up. Even before the show, I was talking to Mike about this, and I got it mixed up. I get this game mixed up with Link to the Past all the time. I don't know why, but I think it's because I played them about the same time. But I played Link's Awakening, but I have it on my 3DS, but I don't remember much of the game at all. But I'm really enjoying it.
I was going to ask you, Roger, if you could recognize whether or not like the areas are one-to-one exact replications of the original.
As far as I remember, they are. I mean, outside of obviously the graphics and everything, but
so you could play $45 more for the same game?
Well,
yeah.
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 It's $45 more for the adorable factor.
Yeah, exactly, Christian.
Surely somebody will do a side-by-side comparison.
Yeah.
I think I've seen a couple, and it does look the same, but you've got the dungeon creator in there too.
Yes.
So
yeah, the dungeon creator.
That you have to have the amiibo for.
Yeah.
Which I do. So
good job,
Yeah,
Roger. That makes it like $75.
For the game that's exactly the same, just cuter.
It is good,
Can
though.
I come to your defense, Roger?
Yes, please.
It's a snarky comment.
Yeah.
You know what? Never mind.
Wow, thanks for defending me. That was great. Thanks.
No. Okay. Is that's about the same amount as 5 copies of Arkham, right?
Oh,
Oh,
Nice, Mike.
oh, snap.
That's good.
nice job. Thanks, Mike.
Sorry, I had
That's
to
good.
come to Roger's age there.
I appreciate that, Mike.
I love you too, buddy. I'm only saying that because I got the game and the amiibo too.
Oh, yeah. So, no, it's good. I mean, it's fun. It's a fun game. It's probably like replaying it because, like I said, I played it a long time ago, but I never beat it. But playing it, I don't know. Maybe it's the cuteness because it is really cute. But it is probably one of my favorite Zelda games. Just playing it again, like I'd sit there and fish all day.
The original one was one of your favorites?
No,
Or this new remake.
New remake.
Oh, okay.
It's probably one of my favorite Zelda games. I can sit there and fish all day. It's fun. It's so fun. It's just so fun. I don't know.
I hate fishing in games.
Oh, I love fishing in games. Oh man, Mike and I could tell you stories of Red Dead Redemption 2 and how we sat there and fished and all the antics that happened when we were fishing in that game.
As a trophy hunter, I've had to do a lot of fishing in games that I didn't necessarily want to.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is that there's always like some big incentive that is attached to fishing, like in Dark Cloud. That's probably the game I spent the most time fishing in because there's this one particular fish that will give you, a particular gem, but you have to use a particular bait and you can only do it at a particular time of day. And it's just like,
JRPGs love that for some reason. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. So I've been playing that. I've been playing Caravan Stories on the PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a free-to-play game. It was a mobile game. It is still a mobile game that is apparently very popular in Japan. And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say how silly it is that you have all these games that you've paid for and aren't playing, and then you're like, ooh, a free-to-play game.
Well, okay, so the reason I'm playing this one is because I'm reviewing it, actually.
Okay.
So I was asked, hey, do you want to review the PlayStation 4 port of this game? And I mean, so I'm going to be open and honest about this. I said, yeah, sure. And they're like, okay, so it's a free to play, but obviously they have loot boxes and they have loot and stuff. And they're like, okay, we're going to give you a bunch of stuff to help boost your character up right away. And I said, okay.
What's the gameplay? Is it like a turn-based RPG? What are we talking?
So it's kind of, it's like an action RPG kind of esque. It's still, no, it's action RPG and turn-based mixed. It's weird. So when you go into a battle, you can let the computer just kind of take over. You can put an auto attack and you just sit there and let everything happen on its own. Or you can take control of it, and then you tell your different characters when to attack and what to attack.
So is it a clicker?
On a
Sounds
mobile,
like a clicker.
On a mobile, I can imagine like you'd be clicking the buttons on, like the different characters, like and they have like a cooldown for every one of their attacks. So then you have to click it again to make them attack again.
Yeah, so from what I played of it, your character auto attacks, but you can move them. So it's when you encounter an enemy in the overworld, it goes to that battlefield, the small battlefield, and then you can maneuver your character around, but your character auto attacks the enemy.
You can turn that
off. The
enemies
enemies stand in one place, so you can turn that off. You can attack them on your own.
Yeah.
Okay.
But even when you turn that off and you attack, it's still an auto attack. Like they still just attack. But then you have to tell them to attack again when their cooldown of their attack is done.
Oh, okay.
So, and the reason what I read online, the reason that's important is because there's some strategy behind it that you'd want to send off certain attacks at certain times. Like your healer, you can set back, and then she can just sit there. You can have them heal when you need it. I will say I played this game for about 6 hours now or so, and I have half the trophies already. So there's not that many trophies in the game.
Is it platinum?
I don't think there's a platinum.
Oh.
Yeah. But I was given a lot of loot to help like boost my character. But I wanted to play it without using any of that loot, just to see what it would have been like to to level your character without using any money. And I'm at level like 15, and I haven't used any of my loot that they gave me. So like the loots that they give you is like these gems, and you can use them to level up your character, power level your character, or power level your weapons, or you can buy new weapons and such. But I haven't used any to do that yet. It's okay. I mean, I'm actually quite impressed. I mean, on a mobile, like for a mobile game, it's actually pretty good. And it's actually somewhat deep for a mobile game. So I'll be reviewing that in the future, but I've been playing that. And then the last game I've been playing is Sayonara Wildhearts. Have you guys heard of this game?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a racing action or something, right?
Yeah.
Available on Apple Arcade.
It is. And well, I think other systems too, but I played it on the Switch. But you're right, it's on Apple Arcade. And so it's like a racer game. And then, the music is really interesting. The music's really good. And your character is like collecting these hearts, and you kind of bounce between the different lanes and try to get the high score for each level. But then there's boss battles, which is cool. I was like, wow, this is neat. There's boss battles in this game. And they take like a simple basic concept of like these like racing games, and make them unique and different and add different things to it. It's really a cool game. Mm-hmm. And the art style is really interesting.
So it's a racing game.
It's a racing game.
Because I watched the trailer last night, actually, and I was like, I have no idea what is going on.
Yeah.
It didn't answer any question.
Yeah, and the story is interesting. It's like a person that like had their heart broken, and it like I don't know, just like I guess cast across time and space. So they broke their heart so bad that it affected time and space across all times and space. I don't know.
What a baby.
Yeah, I know. It was very high school
there's
drama.
Bosses, Roger?
Yeah.
So are you shooting at them, or are you racing them?
No. So you have to hit the buttons at a certain time to
So it's a
jump
rhythm
over
game?
their text. Was that? Yeah, some of it is, yeah. Some of it, that part is. That part's kind
I'm
of rhythmic.
confused.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, but I mean, like, it's not like rhythm game like Parappa the Rappa rhythm game. Like, they'll be coming at you, and then you have to hit a certain button, and then you'll jump over their attack, and then get like a different gem. I've only fought against one boss so far, so this is. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see what other bosses are like.
Oh, so are they like?
It's interesting. Are
they like all the Resident Evil 5 game, or where it's like a cutscene and then you just hit the button when it tells you?
Button?
I mean,
it's like QuickTime events.
It's QuickTime events, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I heard that Sayonara Wildhearts was a neat music video, but it was a bit interaction light.
Yeah. I mean, it's not hard. It's like
he could be a natural at it, so he's gonna keep playing.
Yeah, this is like one of those games that's right up my alley. No, but what I do like about the game is that you can sit down and you can, the levels are not long. So you can beat one of the levels pretty quickly. And it's really made for like people that are looking to get high scores, because they'll give you your score and they rank you like bronze, silver, gold level. And then you can go back, obviously, and try to beat that level again, the racing level. And then there's bosses. There's bosses after so many. Well, like I said, I think it was like the 5th level or so that I fought my first boss.
What does it rank you on? Like, how do you get points? Do you go super fast or push the buttons super good?
So when you're racing, there's like little hearts or little gems that you have to collect.
Okay.
And then you bounce between each lane to get the different gems.
Okay, so are you limited to lanes? Is that how this works?
Yes.
You swap between lanes?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yep.
And then there's got to be a limited number of hearts and gems per level, so there's
Yes.
a max score that you can
Yes.
achieve.
Yes. And then there's some times where you'll like one of the levels, like first level's pretty easy, but the second, third level maybe, I think, where there's like these warp points. So if you hit it, there's warp points on each, there's 3 lanes, and then there's warp points on each side, on the 2 end lanes. And if you hit one of them, you might warp on the right-hand side and there'll be gems there, or maybe there won't be, and then you hit the wrong warp and you wanted to stay in the left lane. So, I mean, there's some parts where like, oh crap, I missed those gems because I hit the warp and I hit the wrong warp. So it almost like makes you play through it again, so that way you're like, okay, now I know where the gems are, so now I need to play it again so I can get those. Entices you to play it again, I guess. Mm-hmm. And the music's good. Stories, I mean, interesting. The artwork is interesting. I really like the artwork. So
How much did it cost, Roger?
I think it was $14.99 or $12.99, something like that. It wasn't too expensive.
Oh, I was going to say that seems like a lot.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't
Well,
know what
for
that
a game,
seems like.
if that's for a game that you just said is input light, it's I'm going to be honest, because after playing Gree, or we were calling it Gris for forever,
Yeah.
I am a little bit wary of games where they seem to, their main selling point seems to be their art.
Yeah.
And you really don't have any idea about the gameplay.
Yeah. Well, I will stream it. You can check us out on twitch.tv/Gamerheads podcast, and I'll stream it so that way you can see what the gameplay is like. But yeah, I mean, I can see why people would say this is input. Like, I mean, it's not, like I said, at least where I'm at right now, it's not hard. Maybe it gets more challenging as I go on in the game, but at this point, it's not hard, but it's interesting. I like it. I mean, but it's okay. I'll admit it's kind of a casual-ish game.
You could have saved $10 by playing it on your Apple device with Apple Arcade.
I don't have an Apple device.
You save $10 after you shell out $1,000 for your iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So there
what
you
a
go.
bargain.
Yeah, what a bargain. But yeah, I mean, it's on the Nintendo. That's why I've been playing on the Nintendo Switch. Actually, Jordan was the reason I've heard about this game, because he tweeted about it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna check that out, and it's pretty cool. But,
There you go.
well,
Friend
check it
at
out.
Cryptic Jordan.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll post some gameplay, so everybody can see what the game is like. All right. So before we go, then that's what I've been playing. So before we go, how can people get a hold of us? We'll start with you, Blue. How can people get a hold of you?
You can almost always find me on Twitter. My handle is @WritersView, and it's spelled with a Y, so WRY. And then I also have a website, which is writersview.com.
Nice. And Christian, how can people get a hold of you?
You can also find me on Twitter at Christian Cubza. You can read my reviews, like the 2,000-word one for Greedfall, which is 2,000 words of me saying the game's pretty good, on newgamenetwork.com, or listen to my reviews at gamerheadspodcast.com.
Nice. And Mike, how can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at TCThrowers. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/TCThrowers. And you can find the Controller Throwers podcast on iTunes and Google Play.
Nice. And listeners, as I said before, you can always get a hold of us. Probably the easiest way is on Twitter, and our Twitter handle is GamerheadsPC. But you can also send us an email, info@GamerheadsPodcast, or go to our website at GamerheadsPodcast.com. And if you feel so inclined and you want to support us, do check out our Patreon page. We have different tiers, And I just want to give another shout out to our newest member of the Gamerheads Nation, Miguel at Sergeant Fit Geek, who supported us on Patreon. For only $5 a month, you can become a member of the Gamerheads Nation and have your name read on the show as well. So do check that out if that's something that you want to help us out with and support the show. We would very much appreciate that. With that, we will talk to you next week and enjoy your week. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
So long.